All right, so check this out. We got our hands on something pretty special. The internal playbook from a company that's building an AI operating system for tradespeople. Plumbers, electricians, builders. And today, we're going to tear it down and see what makes it tick. Let's get into it.
So this is one of the very first things you see in their confidential manual, the invisible leak in your pocket. How good is that? It's a brilliant line, right? It perfectly captures the problem they're solving for these small businesses. We're talking missed calls, lost leads, all that late night admin. Basically, it's all the money just trickling away when they're not even looking.
So that's what we're going to do for the next few minutes. We're going to break down exactly how this company plugs that leak. We're talking brand identity, their core sales strategy, the actual tech behind it all, and, get this, even their pre-scripted answers to the toughest customer objections. And the best part? We're using their own internal documents to do it. Okay, first things first. Think about it. How do you sell super advanced AI to an audience that's, let's be honest, famously down to earth and maybe a little skeptical of new tech? Well, it all starts with defining exactly who you are and who you aren't.
And this is what I find so interesting. Look at the clarity here. They literally tell their sales team, do not sound like you're from Silicon Valley. Instead, they call themselves blue-collar tech. It's all about being direct, practical, no fluff. This isn't about disruption or fancy buzzwords. It's about earning trust by speaking the exact same language as your customer. And this right here, this is the knockout punch. You do the work, we handle the rest. This one single line, which they drill into every single employee, sums up the whole promise. You're the expert, you focus on your craft, let our system handle all the boring, tedious admin stuff. Okay, so that's the branding. Now let's get into the guts of the system. See, their team isn't taught to sell a bunch of random features. No, they sell a complete system for growing a business, and they call it the 4R framework. You can think of this framework as the engine that drives their whole model. It's this 4-stage loop that's designed to do everything. Grab new business, protect your reputation, get referrals from happy customers, and just generally keep the calendar booked solid. So let's break down each of these R's.
So the first R is reactivity. And this one tackles what is probably the biggest leak in any service business: speed. Their own research says that 40% of new jobs go to the very first person who picks up the phone. Wild, right? So how do they solve this? With an AI that answers every single call instantly, 24/7. And it even calls back any leads from a web form in under a minute. And just look at the impact of that speed. Their data shows that if you answer a lead within just 5 minutes, you are 9 times more likely to turn them into a paying customer. 9 times. That is an absolutely game-changing number for any small business. All right, next up, reputation. And this is so clever. They have this system they call a smart gatekeeper. Here's how it works. After a job is done, it automatically asks the client for a rating. If they give 4 or 5 stars, boom, it sends them right to Google to post that great public review. But, and this is the genius part, if it's 1 to 3 stars, it sends them to a private internal form. This gives the business owner a chance to jump in and fix the problem before it becomes a nasty public review. The third R is referrals. This part automates what is, for many, the best source of new work, but also the one they always forget to ask for. The system is smart. It sees a customer left a good review, so about 10 days later, it automatically shoots them a little nudge email. It's got a voucher in it and just asks if they'd refer a friend. It completely takes the awkwardness and, the forgetfulness out of the whole thing. And the final piece of the puzzle is retention. You know that whole out of sight, out of mind problem? They solve that with a simple tool they actually call the rainy day button. It lets a business owner, whenever things are a bit quiet, to just press a button and send a targeted offer, like, say, a winter boiler service special, to their entire list of past customers. It's a super simple way to fill up the schedule when things get slow. Okay, so that's the what, the whole strategy. Now let's pull back the curtain and look at the how. What are the actual pieces of tech that make this whole 4R framework come to life for a business owner? The heart of it all is the app, which they brand as the Pocket Office. Love that. This is the command center where a tradesperson can run their whole business, sending quotes, invoicing, getting paid. And a little inside scoop from the manual, it's actually a white-labeled version of a platform called SuiteDash, which they've totally customized for their audience. Now this is the real star of the show, the AI voice agent. We're talking about a generative AI that is trained specifically on that one business. It can handle unlimited calls at the same time, it can qualify leads by asking all the right questions, and then it books appointments straight into the calendar. Think about it. It never gets sick, it never takes a holiday, and it absolutely never, ever misses a call.
And then there's this feature, which is really interesting and kind of old school in a high-tech system, automated direct mail. So when a job is marked complete, the system literally prints and posts a physical, branded postcard to the customer. Why? Well, the logic in their manual is simple. Physical mail sticks. It stays on the fridge, right? Emails just get deleted.
Okay, so we've seen the strategy and we've seen the tech. Now we get to the really juicy part. How do they actually package this and sell it? And maybe more importantly, how do they deal with the pushback they're bound to get from potential customers? So they have a few pricing tiers, from a basic foundation package all the way up to a growth system. But the manual is super clear that the Pro package, the one that's $549 a month, that's their hero product. That's the one they want to sell. It's got the whole 4R system, and crucially, it includes that AI voice agent.
And this is where the playbook gets really insightful. It literally has a cheat sheet for handling objections. So let's take the most obvious one, the price. What happens when a potential customer says, £549 is just too expensive? Well, their response is just a masterclass in reframing. They don't argue about the price tag at all. Instead, they completely change the comparison. They say, look, don't think of this as software. Think of it as a super employee who costs way less than a human receptionist. And then they deliver the final blow, the ROI. They just say, if this AI lands you just one extra job a month that you would have missed, it's already paid for itself. It's free.
Okay, what about the other big objection? This one's a classic. I don't want a robot talking to my customers. That fear of sounding cold and impersonal, it's a totally valid concern. And once again, the way they pivot is just brilliant. First, they validate the feeling. They say, I totally get that. But then they reframe the entire problem. They argue that the choice isn't really between a human and a robot. The real choice is between an instant, helpful answer from an AI or getting sent to voicemail. And their big point is that in 2025, speed is what wins jobs, not chit-chat. So when you put all of these pieces together, you've got the blue-collar branding, the 4R framework, all the AI-powered tech, and those razor-sharp sales tactics. What you're really looking at is a complete blueprint for a new kind of business owner, the automated tradesperson. And all of this leaves us with a really fascinating question, right? Yeah, we've just deconstructed a playbook for one specific industry. But the core ideas, automating your responses, managing your reputation, keeping your customers coming back, those are universal. So is this what we're looking at? A glimpse into the future operating model for every small business out there? Something to think about.